Hi everybody, Matt Lawton here. This is the Astrological Winds channel. I'm going to take a look at the astrological weather forecast for the week of March 8th through the 14th. And not the most dynamic week compared to what we've been going through for the beginning of this year and, most of the last year, of course, too. But it's going to be a very Piscean, Neptunian week. So get ready, to the adventures into outer space, so to speak. Really, the week is centered around the new moon that's next Saturday. And four of our planets and lights involved in this new moon and really having an effect all week, really. I would say by Tuesday we'll be feeling this new moon. And the reason being is because the new moon will be conjunct Neptune and Venus too. So not only is the sun and moon going to be conjunct, but we will also have Venus and Neptune in that conjunction in Pisces. So Neptune and Pisces with very similar energy. Venus, very strong in Pisces. Neptune, very strong in Pisces. The moon, very comfortable in Pisces. So really strong Pisces energy this week. And it will start, like I said, you'll start to feel it a little bit on Tuesday, but Wednesday is when the sun makes its exact conjunction to Neptune. And then on Saturday, we get the new moon, where the sun and moon are exactly conjunct. And we also get Venus's exact conjunction to Neptune also. So you can see it really fills most of the week up, and there's really not much else going on. Now, there is one thing I wanted to mention before we dive a little bit deeper into that Neptune and new moon and Piscean energy, and that is on Tuesday, Venus is square the nodal axis. So that's an interesting one because that usually speaks of like disturbed relationships, which many times can end in literally a termination of those relationships. A lot of challenges, maybe crisis or tension that has risen to the surface in relationships and possibly reaching a breaking point. So, and if not, like there's a lot of work that needs to be done in order to get the relationship back into a stable position. So just that really briefly before we go into the new moon energy. And I'm just going to deal with, all this as one big thing for the week. And so, Pisces energy is really a deep inner energy on a personal level. It is a meditative, contemplative, spiritual, mystical, religious, idealistic, imaginative, inspiring kind of energy. So on one hand, despite Pisces being the last sign on the relationship side of the zodiac, it really most of the time requires some alone time and downtime to be into a contemplative or meditative state in assessing, basically where your life is at this point and how that may be aligning or not aligning with your ideals, which can be a little bit of a slippery path with Pisces, because when Pisces realizes that this beautiful, soft, romantic, loving, merging, idealistic energy that it has does not get manifested to that point of the top of the ideal, usually in our physical world. The physical world, usually brings some of that ideal down and kind of have to meet halfway. So the issue with Pisces, therefore, on the negative side is when we get our ideals disappointed like that, we can go toward tendencies of escapism. And there's many different ways to do that, you know, alcohol, drugs, just anything that we, you know, go off into a fantasy world with, video games, you know, anything that we, you know, go away, virtual reality, things like that that are taking us away from that. But and so, you know, we're going to see a lot of that energy. And Pisces is a really sensitive sign. It's picking up on the energy around it all the time. It is an emotional intuition that Pisces has, and an emotional sensitivity. It picks up on the emotions of the people around it and the environment and surroundings around it, and can be easily overwhelmed and need to run towards that some form of escapism or a contemplative place to get away from the stimuli or the overstimuli, because we're in such a sensitive zone. So it's a very interesting there. But that being said, that sensitivity can create a great deep connection with other people that blends like what is a higher unconditional love, non-discriminatory love of Neptune with lower discriminatory human kind of love of Venus together into this beautiful romantic reverie kind of energy. And so, like, you know, a lot of times that stuff is definitely like the fantasy world. It's like, you know, Walt Disney or something. Like, this is not really the way relationships normally go, you know. So, but I have to say, you know, with all this strength in Pisces, there is right now really a lot of opportunities to meet soulmate type people in your sphere, in your world. And you know, soulmate, you know, many people immediately, you know, go to like, oh, you know, romantic partnership, soulmate, which can definitely is a ripe time for that, especially with the blending of the higher and lower love, could really create a really beautiful long-term relationship on that level. But it's not just isolated to romantic type relationships. Those soulmate relationships, especially in Pisces, can be much more group or community oriented also. So like really finding like people that you really connect with that are on the same kind of like, or a similar spiritual, mystical journey with you. And you have to feel that. And it's tricky with Pisces, you know, because the emotional intuition is harder to read than the intuition that comes from your guts, from the feeling in your body. The emotional intuition can be more confusing. And when we're emotionally triggered, we can make a lot of wrong decisions in the moment of that triggering. So it's going to be a little bit of a slippery slope to discern which people are possibly that soulmate connection that you're looking for. So you're going to have to feel those emotions, feel those people out. Maybe the first impression may not be correct, you know? So it's like, it's good to like, you know, Pisces just wants to merge with everything around it anyway. So, you know, when those people are in your space, or when you're feeling out of space, maybe it's not people, or maybe it's an environment that you're feeling out in the emotional charge of that, and taking that in, and not allowing your judgment of that emotion to pull you too far off what the path is, and not, you know, just to feel it through and get the message. So that's kind of interesting stuff. And you know, so look for those kind of connections with people, because this is a new moon and it can create a whole new relationship, and based on really highly shared ideals, you know. Now also, this is highly artistic energy too. especially with Venus involved too. So all you artists out there, the imagination download, the inspiration download you should get this week should be very, very fruitful. And you can work with it. And I know sometimes Pisces is like, this passive, and you may get just like, three of the four planets in this new moon conjunction are passive, really. Only the sun is really the only active one. But like a lot of good ideas, at the very minimum, should come in on that level, on the artistic level. So and so when we look at the ruler of the new moon, it's Jupiter actually. So Pisces' old rulership is Jupiter, and Jupiter just had a conjunction with Mercury, if you'll remember. So that's still in orb. And once again, just like ever since the winter solstice, as I said in the yearly forecast, this is a year of very many places where we'll have these poignant places where we can get stuff started, new things started that could really be a lot of the time we spend for years on those projects. So this is once again a very ripe time with that Mercury Jupiter conjunction. Mercury now speeding forward in Aquarius, very forward minded, and now in this Pisces energy can download the idealism right into that, and lift Jupiter's belief systems to something higher and greater and more expansive. Now remember too, like I said last week, every week the moon is going to link into that Uranus-Saturn square, and I will guarantee you will find out that is one of the highly emotional charged days of each week, and that is Tuesday this week, where it's going to lock into the Uranus-Saturn square. So just look for that to be a day that's highly charged on that level. And for the most part, that covers most of the week. It's not something that there's a lot going on besides this Neptunian energy. And the one other thing to remember, and you have to go back to last week's blog because I am not going to go through this again. This is the week of the exact Ceres Chiron conjunction in Aries. I talked a lot about that last week, and I think it's really an important thing that could be overlooked as actually the most important aspect of this month. So I recommend you go back and listen to that one if you haven't, last week's one, which had the monthly on it, because that is exact this week, that aspect also. All right, this is Matt Lutton, and we've got a really short version this week because there's not that much going on at the Astrological Winds channel. I am available for all kinds of readings: natal chart, predictive reading, which is looking at the next year ahead and what the planets outside, how they're affecting your chart, children's charts, relationship charts, election charts if you're looking for the best time to do something, or charts, astrocartography and relocation charts if you're looking to move somewhere else, or if you're looking to find out places in the world where certain planets are the strongest, most activated in your chart. Fixed star readings also for deeper soul purpose, all kinds of stuff like that. Classes available too. The first 5 are up. Number 6, I'm just about ready to get on done and get it down. There may be some video on that one. I'm trying to set up some video on that one too. They're $25 a class, and you can take them as one-offs, or if you are a student with a student ID, they're $20. And if you want to become a student, then you just take them sequentially. Right now available on Dropbox. Pay the fee, and I'll get you the file downloaded. And also available for all kinds of lectures, events, things like that. My email is matthure823@gmail.com. So get in touch. I'm always a week or 2 behind. So if you're looking for a chart to be done, try to plan it a little bit ahead. Always a few charts in front. And then also, lots of folks really enjoying the channel. So please pass it on to anybody you think who'd be interested in it. I really appreciate that. That would be the best way to repay me. And if you want to make a donation, which certain people have wanted to, you can use my email account, and that is also a Zelly account. And I would, just if you'd like to do that, but not necessary for sure. I would really like you to pass it on and become a follower on YouTube. Subscribe, put your notifications on. And I'm also available on all kinds of podcasts, Spotify. I think there's about 10 different podcasts out there. Just look up the Astrological Winds channel and you will find me there. All right, a little bit of a shorter version this week, but a lot of Neptune energy, so don't float off into space on us. Tether yourself down somehow and, make those connections and, look through and discern, try to find what's right for you. And this really does have the energy pushing in a more positive thing for this, to not fall into like the martyr victimhood or lostness of Pisces. This could really be a key time of making really good connections with people, with groups on a soul journey level together. So let's try to do that all together, lift this place up a little bit more. Until next week, this is Matt Lawton. This is the Astrological Winds channel. I will see you then.